we're putting you on the hook here. You actually said the Seahawks would win the Super Bowl. Explain yourself and make it a good case.
Well, I had to choose them, being that I really didn't have a choice. I'm not siding with either team, but I'm a defensive guy, and I study defense, and I understand that offense scores points, but defense wins games. So, I'm a fan of Seattle defense and how they play, but more importantly, I'm a fan of their intensity, their swagger, their chemistry. That's something that can't be broken.
All right.
So I understand all that, and I appreciate swag, but I also appreciate ability. You ain't talking about just Peyton Manning. You're talking about Wes Welker. You're talking about Eric Decker. You're talking about Julius and Demaryius Thomas. You're talking about no Sean Moreno. You're talking about legitimately 5 bona fide weapons. This ain't 1 or 2 dudes you got the key on with Denver's offense. This is 5 bona fide dudes Seattle's going to have to contend with. How do you stop that?
Well, playing both the safety and the cornerback position, I know that one thing receivers do not like is when you go up there and you put your hands on them. And that's something that a receiver doesn't like, and that's something that a quarterback doesn't like. So when you disrupt the timing, I don't care if it's a Drew Brees, I don't care if it's a Peyton Manning, I don't care if it's Eli Manning, I don't care if it's Tom Brady. You're going to have problems, and that's exactly what Seattle defense does.
Well, Skip keeps making the point that Peyton Manning, forget about him being sacked, he hasn't been touched. So, in other words, they're doing a great job of protecting him, and he's doing a great job of getting rid of the football. How you going to negate that?
Well, you keep it coming. You keep it coming, and like I say, when you negate that, when you disrupt the timing, if Peyton looks to his left and that receiver's being jammed up, you know what he does? He has to go to his second read, then his third read. So when you have all those guys playing hands-on defense, and then you have Chancellor and Earl Thomas coming down flying, being ball hawks that they are, you're in for a battle. I'm not going against Peyton. I think Peyton has proven that, he is, the best quarterback in this league right now. And, with those receivers, Demaryius Thomas, Wes Welker, Eric Decker, those guys have been playing out of their mind. So, I'm not saying that they're not capable or they're not worthy of that pick also. I'm just going with what I know, which is defense.
And because you are one of the better defensive backs in this league, a former 8th pick overall in the draft, I need your response, your critique of what Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie said yesterday about his top 5 defensive backs, excluding in his top 5 one Richard Sherman of the Seattle Seahawks. Now, he did respect his elders, did DRC, and he went Champ, Asante, and even threw in Charles Woodson for his first 3. And then he went Revis and Antonio Cromartie. Certainly you have high regard for both. But no Richard Sherman in his top 5. Your response?
Well, I think that's why he's DRC, I'm Antrel Rolle. DRC is like a little brother to me. I think he can be one of the best cornerbacks in this league. The most talented athlete I've ever seen out there on the football field.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
No question about it.
And he's talking about retiring.
He doesn't mean it.
He doesn't mean it. He took it back. He took it back.
We know he's full of it on that one, but go ahead.
But, when you're talking about Richard Sherman and his game, everyone, gets on him about being so outspoken and, maybe, above and beyond, which, I don't disagree. But at the same time, it's all about what you do between those white lines. And that guy produces. He plays ball. And the thing I like most of all about Richard Sherman is playing that cornerback position, you're going to get beat from time to time. Very rarely does he get beat. But even when he does get beat, he has amnesia, which is something that at the cornerback position you must have because you have to forget it and drive on. And that's something that he does very well. And even if he gets beat, he comes back and he makes another play to make up for that.
So he would be in your top 5 corners or defensive backs?
He'll be in my top 3 corners right now in this league. My top 2 corners in this league right now.
Who's one?
Right now, to be honest with you, what he's done over the last couple of years, he might be my number 1 corner in this league right now.
Even Revis coming off knee surgery.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going based off his ball skills, the way he attacks the ball in the air, and, just the way he plays the ball, period. I think he has phenomenal ball skills. I think he accepts any challenge that's thrown his way. And like I say, I don't know Richard Sherman at all, on a personal level, but I am a fan of football, and I do respect talent. I do respect grind, and, he's a football player.
Forgive me if I'm a bit ignorant with this question, but I must ask, based on what you just said about Richard Sherman, who do you put him on if you're Denver? Everybody just assumes it's Demaryius Thomas. I'm thinking if you're going to put that kind of heat on Peyton Manning the way you said they should, you're not going to have an opportunity to throw the long ball. Now, obviously, you do drop-offs to Demarius, and he's got that kind of athletic ability. But at the same time, usually in a scenario like that, you're looking for your tight end. Can you see a situation where Richard Sherman could end up on Julius a little bit? I don't see it, but I just want to ask.
I don't think there'll be a need for that. I don't think there'll be a need for them to put Richard Sherman on Julius. I think Seattle linebackers do a great job of covering. Then you have Cam Chancellor that can go down there and cover. You have Earl Thomas that can go down there and cover. So I think with Richard Sherman being on Demarius Thomas will be their best matchup. You know, it's going to make Peyton force the ball elsewhere, and if he decides to throw at Demarius Thomas, that'll be a great battle.
Do you think it's going to be single coverage? Do you see a scenario where Richard Sherman's going to have help, or do you think Pete Carroll's going to put him out on an island and Richard Sherman's going to be like, I got this, let me handle this man by myself?
Knowing the confidence that Sherman has, I believe that, you know, he will say, I got it, you know, until otherwise. You know, if he's starting to get picked on or he's not holding up his end of the deal, then I'm sure, you know, they'll rock and roll the coverage his way. But initially, I mean, I will expect to see one-on-one single coverage.